everyone, Karen and CJ here to talk to you about nail trims, why they're so important, and how to get your dog to be cooperative during them, or maybe even enjoy them. So, why are nail trims so important? Think about it this way. Have you ever wear flippers to go swimming? Feels weird when you're trying to walk on dry land with them, right? It's the same idea for our dogs. When their nails are too long, it kind of feels like they're trying to walk in flippers. It can not only feel awkward to walk for them, but it can hurt, and it can also lead to joint problems down the road if their nails are always too long. So how do we get our dog to enjoy and be cooperative during nail trims? Well, let me show you a few different ways. To start, you're going to want to get your dog used to just having their paws touched and making it no big deal. To do that, you touch your dog's paw real briefly and then pair it with a yummy treat. Good job. Then, as they get more comfortable with you touching their paws, you can touch them for longer and longer before paying them. To start though, if you have a dog that doesn't really care for their paws being touched, it can be helpful to just touch them with one finger real quick and then pay them. We want to build up a positive association with their paws being handled. Once your dog is willing and cooperative during you just touching their paws, then and only then can you introduce the tools. The order is really important here. Even when we're touching their paws, we want to touch, then give the treat, or introduce the tool, then give the treat. Because if we do it in reverse, what can happen is those yummy treats actually become a predictor of something scary happening. And we don't want that. We want our dogs to enjoy this. So to get our dog familiar with equipment, you may have one of these at home. This is a nail clipper. You want to just leave this item out so they can see it every day. It's a part of their everyday life. It's not that scary. Because if this lives in a cupboard behind a door and only is taken out when it's time to do their nails, then it's going to be scary. But if it's out and about and a part of their day, not so scary. So we start by just showing them the item. When they look at it and don't freak out, we pay them for that. If your dog does look at it and they kind of run away, or maybe they're like, no thank you, and they whine or anything like that, then next time present it to them a little bit further away. Once they're comfortable and they're not whining or trying to get away from just the sight of this, then you can move on to the next part, which is just touching it to their paw, then paying them. Touch it to their paw and pay them. Again, once they're comfortable with that step, then you can move on to placing it there for a while, then paying them. Once they're comfortable at that stage, then what you'll do is you'll get a hold of their paw and touch it. Pay them for being cooperative and not freaking out there. Then hold the paw and hold the clipper there a little bit longer. Then pay them. Then and only then, when they're comfortable with that, you can try clipping one nail. Only one. We don't want to be greedy and try to do 2, 3, or all of them. We want them to enjoy this. Remember that. We can do another nail tomorrow. We can do one nail a day and still be successful at this. The more successful and the more enjoyable this is for our dogs, then they will want you to eventually do all of the nails in one day. But when you start, just do one nail at a time, pay them for that, and then do another one tomorrow. So you'd clip a nail, pay them. Clip a nail, pay them. And eventually, they won't mind it so much. Now, you've tried this, you've gone through all these steps, you've given it your best shot. But maybe you've clipped one too many quicks and your dog is like, no thank you, that's a torture device. Well, there is another tool that you can use, and that is a Dremel. It looks a little bit like this. They come in all different shapes and sizes and colors, but this is what I use. There is a little bit of sandpaper on the end, so instead of clipping the nails, you're filing them. Especially for dogs that have black nails like CJ, this is a great way to go because you lessen the chance of clipping that quick. And we don't want to do that. If you've ever done it, blood goes everywhere and it bleeds forever. This reduces the chances of that happening. Same steps apply though. When you start this, you just show it to your dog. Yes, and pay them for being interested in it. Show it to them. Oh, he booped it with his nose. I'll give him 2 treats for that. Once your dog is comfortable with this item just being around, then you can start to turn it on. The first time you turn it on though, you want to do it away from your dog. I don't want you turning it on right here because it does make kind of a weird sound, so it can be scary to them. So a ways away from your dog, turn it on, turn it right back off, and pay them if they don't freak out. If your dog does get a little worked up over just turning it on, next time, turn it on even farther away from them, or even hide it behind your back so it kind of quiets the sound a little bit. Then once your dog is okay with the sound of this, then you can start to move it closer to them. But even before that, once they're comfortable with the sound, then I want to take it off. I don't want the sound on, I don't want this on. And you touch it to their paw, yes, and pay them. Then you touch it and leave it there a little bit longer, then pay them. Then you can turn it on, touch it to them, and pay. Same thing, touch and pay. Once they're comfortable with that, you guessed it, then you can try this on one nail. One nail and one nail only. Remember, go slow, work at your dog's pace. Make this successful and enjoyable for them so you're not fighting them to get their nails done. Now, if this isn't an option for you, maybe sounds really scare your dog, or you've tried it and you just don't like it, there is one final at-home way to try to do your dog's nails. This should be a last-ditch effort though, this last one, and I want to explain why, but I'm going to show you what it is first. So the last effort is a scratch pad. This is just some sandpaper that I've stapled to an old piece of 2x4, and what you're going to do is you're going to teach your dog to file their own nails. But why this should be a last-ditch effort is because a lot of times if it's not trained properly, your dog can actually end up dragging their paw pad along this, and we don't want that. That can cause a lot of damage. Their paw pads are very sensitive, and we don't want to damage them. So your dog only gets that yummy treat when only their nails have made contact with this. If your dog is dragging their paw pad along it, no payment. If they're consistently dragging it every time you try, then this isn't the option for you. But you would just show it to your dog. If your dog knows shake or paw or anything like that, you can use that and just encourage them to drag their nails along it. Not your nose though. But this is a last ditch effort. These other tools, getting your dog comfortable with them, may take weeks or months, especially the Dremel. It makes weird noises. So go slow, really give these guys an option and a chance before moving on to this. If you've tried all of these and you're still not having any luck, couple things. Go back to just getting your dog comfortable with you touching their paws. and work through the steps again. After that, you can take your dog to a professional groomer. They'll be happy to help you. They have the tools available, they have the knowledge. If that fails, then you can go see your vet. Some dogs do need to be sedated to get their nails done, but I do promise, and I shouldn't, but I promise, if you take the time, make it a positive experience for your dog. Your dog will eventually learn to love it. Maybe. I shouldn't talk in absolutes. We are dealing with live animals. Some dogs never learn to love it or even tolerate it. But these are the steps to go through to get your dog to help with a little cooperative care for their nail trims. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help. And as always, don't forget to tell your dog I said hi.